Welcome back to BizAsia America, your link to Asia and beyond. I'm Michelle McCoring. The leaders of China and South Korea are working towards closing a free trade deal by the end of this year. Chinese President Xi Jinping is in Seoul to continue those talks and further boost cooperation between the two nations. And for more, we go to Eugene Jun, who is live in Seoul with the details. Eugene, what can we expect from these talks?
Hi, Michelle. On the first day of Xi Jinping's visit on Thursday, China and South Korea signed more than 10 joint documents, creating a stronger cooperation between the two trade partners. Among them was a currency deal that will spur offshore use of the Chinese renminbi. What this means is exporters in both countries will soon be able to trade directly between the Chinese renminbi and the South Korean won. And for China, who wants to see the renminbi grow to become an alternative to the US dollar in international transactions, well, this deal will promote the use of its currency offshore. And for South Korea, this may help lessen its dependence on the US dollar. And as a result, bilateral trade is expected to bloom. China is already South Korea's largest trading partner, with a two-way trade amounting to nearly 230 billion US dollars last year. And on Thursday, the two leaders said they will aim to conclude negotiations for a bilateral free trade deal by the end of this year.
Our two countries should work together to strengthen China-South Korea free trade agreement talks. We will try to conclude the talks by the end of the year in order to create a better atmosphere for achieving a target of the bilateral trade volume to 300 billion US dollars by 2015.
Right. China also granted South Korea a license to invest as much as 80 billion renminbi in Chinese stocks. Well, that's almost 13 billion US dollars, and this license, known as the Renminbi Qualified Foreign Institutional Investor, or RQFII, allows the holder to invest renminbi funds in Chinese mainland financial exchanges. Beijing will also appoint a clearing bank to handle renminbi businesses in Seoul. Michelle?
Eugene, certainly a lot underway. How are the local businesses reacting to President Xi's visit?
Right. Following Thursday's deals, there is definitely heightened expectations over their impact on financial transactions with China. South Korean companies will not have to go through the dollar anymore, which helps save transaction costs and time. And there's less dependence on the US dollar, which could also help stabilize the Korean won exchange rate. As 90% of the trade is still through US dollars, analysts are positive about the demand for the direct won to renminbi trade market. Michelle?
All right. Thanks for that update, Eugene Jun, live for us in Seoul. Meanwhile, ties between China and South Korea have grown steadily in recent years. Government data shows that more than 62,000 South Koreans studied in China in 2012, and that's more than double since 2003. And 70,000 of them now live and work in Beijing. Grace Brown reports from Beijing's Koreatown.
This is Wudalco, one of the oldest Korean settlements in China. Since the 1990s, Korean students have come here to learn Chinese at nearby language schools. And as a result, many Korean restaurants, fashion outlets, electrical stores, and karaoke bars have opened up throughout this area. According to the South Korean government, Koreans are now the largest group of international students in China, more than doubling since 2003. Ji-won Shim is one of them.
I came to China to study Chinese, but now I'm looking for a job here. There are many South Korean companies here selling electronics and cosmetics, so career opportunities here for us are growing.
South Korea's trade with China has climbed roughly 20% every year between 1992 and 2012 to $230 billion. But it's South Korea that runs a surplus, hitting $63 billion last year, thanks to electronics and stylish clothes. Xiao Bao from North China's Hebei province sells Korean stilettos to Chinese girls.
I opened this shop last year in this area because there are many Korean students here, and business has been getting better and better. We get many Chinese buyers too. Korean shoes are high quality. with the latest styles. They're also cheaper than European shoes.
Jin Hongqi moved from Daegu Island to start a Korean restaurant in Beijing's Wudao-ko. He says their food has gained many Chinese fans.
When we first opened, it was mostly Korean students. Now there are many Chinese. They like our barbecued meat. At first, it wasn't easy because I couldn't speak much Chinese. But now things are easier. I find Chinese people to be very welcoming.
With China's president set to meet South Korea's President Park Geun-hye during his visit, it's likely trade and ties between the two countries will grow even further. Grace Brown, cctv, Beijing.
Coming up on BizAsia America, Colombia's World Cup performance has taken everyone by surprise. But it's not just the country's footballers that are grabbing the spotlight. Colombia's bonds are the rising stars of the global market. Find out why next.